Welcome to Final Play Sports Wrap. I'm your host, Pete Lubar. Today we're talking Mountain West football in our Way Too Early series, which at this point is fairly ironic as the season begins next week. So I guess we should just call it the Too Early series. And today we're focused on Utah State. They have a new head coach, Bronco Mendenhall. Bronco unceremoniously left New Mexico after just one season. Allegedly so he can spend more time at his ranch in Utah and closer to his family. Those are good reasons. And he got about an $800,000 raise. So that's 800,000 good reasons probably to leave and go to a Utah State team that wasn't very good last year and actually lost to New Mexico. He takes over a Aggie team that was 3-4 in conference, 4-8 overall. But he's a proven commodity. His career record is 140-88. With 99 wins and 43 losses at BYU, 36-38 at Virginia, and 5-7 at New Mexico. New Mexico was a very good offensive team last year. They were fourth in the nation, averaging nearly 486 yards per game. They had a dual threat quarterback by the name of Devin Dampier and an offensive coordinator named Jason Beck, and the Lobos were terrific offensively. Unfortunately, both Beck and Dampier decided to take their talents to the other Utah school, University of Utah in Salt Lake. But the Utah State Aggies were offensively pretty good last year. They were sixth in the nation. They were averaging 452 yards per game and 31.9 points per game, which is pretty good unless you're giving up 38.5 points per game, which they did last year. So defensively, they were not very good. We'll talk about that a little bit more here in a bit. The quarterback one last year was Spencer Petras, but he got hurt, I think, early in the season against Robert Morris. And so Bryson Barnes took over, and he had a pretty decent year. He was 77 for out of 126 for 856 yards. 12 TDs, 6 interceptions. He also ran for 532 yards and 5 TDs with an 8 yard per carry rushing, which is really good. So when Mendenhall took the job, he thought he'd have a really good running committee with Rashul Faison, Herschel Turner, Robert Briggs, Derek Jamison, and Nick Floyd. All coming back, except they all transferred out. So none of those are back except Derek Jameson. Those 5 runners rushed for over 3,300 yards and 22 touchdowns in their time at Utah State. So had to rebuild the running back room. Went out and got Jamin Jacobs from University of New Mexico, who was actually a little used back at New Mexico, 377 yards and 3 touchdowns. And then they got a transfer, Miles Davis from BYU, who didn't get a whole lot of play and will now, and then Derek Jamison's returning. So running back should be okay. The receivers are very inexperienced as a group, but they did go out and get Corey Thompson from UNLV, and they got Brady Boyd from Texas Tech. Little used, both of them, but have that kind of talent. And so we're going to have to see how that develops. But they've got 5 or 6 receivers, but most of them just don't have a lot of experience. So we'll see where that goes. From a tight end standpoint, they got Brock Lane back. He played an injury-shortened season last year. Only had 7 games, but got 16 passes for 197 yards and 2 touchdowns. They also have back Josh Sturzer, who played 11 games with 6 starts. And he had 20 passes for 202 yards and 4 touchdowns. So they should be okay at the tight end position. They've got a big offensive line. Trey Anderson is left guard. George Mayle is junior is left tackle. You've got Jack Eichhorn, a center, who's transferred in from BYU. George Mayle, by the way, is from Baylor, 6'3", 305 pounds. They've got Tavu Motu Apuka back from injury. He's 6'4", 330, huge guy. And on the right guard, they've got Jared Pele, and he's really has no meaningful experience, but so he'd be the rookie on the line, so to speak. But the rest of them are experienced and big guys, so they should be okay in terms of the trenches. Defensively, they were, no way to put this nicely, but they were terrible. They gave up 38 points a game. They were 129th in total defense, 470 yards per game they gave up, 117 in passing. They were 117th in passing defense, giving up 255 yards per game. And they replaced their coordinator with Nick Howell from New Mexico. But New Mexico's defense was equally terrible. And so this is going to be very, very interesting to see if the slew of transfers that they brought in makes a difference. Yeah, because New Mexico was like 128th in total defense last year and just dreadful. So if the defense doesn't improve, it doesn't really matter how good a coach Mendenhall is, since he brought the same defensive coordinator from New Mexico with him. They've got a deep group on the line. Should be okay there. They've got a decent linebacker. Bronson Alavio has the potential to be disruptive for us at linebacker. John Miller is very experienced. He had 53 tackles last year. But the defensive backfield is going to be very interesting because they were kind of counting on Ike Larson, but Ike has been suspended 6 games for violating team rules, so he's not going to play the first 6 games of the year. And then you've got safety Noah Agginger, 91 tackles and 1 interception. He's transferring from New Mexico. He was by far New Mexico's best safety. And they also brought in cornerback Bryson Taylor from New Mexico. But you have to remember that New Mexico's pass defense was terrible last year. So bringing in 2 New Mexico guys to anchor your defensive backfield is maybe not the best thing that you could possibly do, but probably better than having no one. So that's kind of it on the defensive side. They lost 18 players to the transfer portal. A bunch of them went to P4 programs, so they had talent. The players were good enough, and they went to bigger programs to get more money. They have 27 transfers in, 118th ranked class. Maybe Avinger is probably the best one they brought in. We'll see. And then they have 21 new enrollees. The recruiting ranking was 117th in the nation. So, first year did what he had to do to plug some holes, but we're going to see if the team has really greatly improved this year, and I'm sure the recruiting will get better over time. From a schedule standpoint, the schedule is kind of tough, I'd say. They play all the major players in the Mountain West, and they play Texas A&M. At Texas A&M. So if you sort of look at the schedule, they start with UTEP, probably get a win there. Go to Texas A&M, probably lose. They get Air Force at home. If Air Force can find a quarterback, that'll be a tough game. Maybe a coin flip on that one. You got McNeese, you're probably going to win. And then you go to Vanderbilt, you're probably going to lose that. And then you go to Hawaii, and Hawaii's improved. I think you probably lose that. And then you start playing some of the better teams in the Mountain West. You have San Jose State, who's going to be one of the top teams in the Mountain West this year. And then you go to New Mexico, which normally you probably wouldn't worry about that game, but New Mexico has highlighted this game as a way to get back at Mendenhall. So you can be assured New Mexico is going to be up for that game. And then you got Nevada, which you probably win. And then you go to at UNLV, which UNLV is going to be very competitive this year. You go to at Fresno State, and then you have Boise State at home. So your last 3 games of the season are probably all losses. So I'm kind of looking at it this way. Maybe they're 2-2 in the non-conference, maybe 1-7 or 2-6, or maybe 3-5 if they can beat Air Force and New Mexico. But once again, New Mexico will absolutely be gunning for Utah State. So, that's my feeling on the Aggies this year. They're going to have, I think, a difficult season. Maybe not get to bowl eligibility, but with Mendenhall over time, they'll become a really good team in the pack, whatever they are, 7.5, 8. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe to my YouTube page, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.